Hey guys, Clay Edwards here. I want to tell you real quick about RC Lawn Care. My buddy Richard Coley is going to be the guy you need to contact for all of your lawn maintenance needs. You can reach him at 601-502-3529. They offer roof to curb service, blowing off the roof, gutter cleaning, basic lawn care including mow, trim, edge, and blow, full lawn cleanup, trash removal, garden supplies delivered, pine straw installs, driveway and sidewalk pressure washing. If grass is growing, you need RC Lawn Care Mowing. Again, 601-502-3529. Richard Coley at RC Lawn Care, proud sponsor of the Clay Edwards Show podcast.
Solutions only people have been in charge for a while now. And suffice to say, Clay Edwards ain't seen too many positive solutions. You've tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. The Free Range Human Show of Choice, the realest show on radio, the most incendiary talk show on these airwaves in the morning times. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. I'm live in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios. Be sure to check out my website. If you missed any of these shows, you can always go back there and find all of my social media links, all the podcast links. The 5 most recent episodes are always on the homepage there. I try to add a video of the week, but I'll be honest, I don't stick with that very well. I stay in YouTube jail, and it just don't work out. But just for simple stuff, you can go buy shirts, stickers, and all that there. I hope everybody got their stickers that ordered them and shirts and all that stuff. I do appreciate you all. Every little bit helps. And nothing cooler than being out and about and getting behind a car and seeing my sticker in it. That's kind of neat. You never think that's neat until you see it. It's like, oh man, that's cooler than I thought it would be. I am flying solo this morning for 2 hours, so as always, it'll be a bit of an open forum. Anything you guys want to talk about, you're welcome to get off your chest. The phone line, 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. I'm actually going to be swinging by there this morning after I run an errand. I keep telling y'all I bought another gun that I shouldn't have bought. And I got to go by there and do something concerning that. So, who doesn't need a 12-gauge pump, a tactical home protection device in their home? What I'm trying to do is get a gun for every room of the house that I possibly could get trapped in. I'm not going to tell you where I currently have them, because there's a few weirdos out there that listen to the show that don't like me. Why y'all anger addicts? I tell you, I don't know why people listen to things they don't like. I don't watch the news because there's nothing on there I want to hear. I can go find it online, make a little note. I'm not about to waste any of my home time with my family and friends watching the news. Why would y'all do that? Ugh. Anyway, why would you get up to listen to this show if you don't like me or you don't like what I have to say? Is it because I speak the truth and you're not going to get that on any of those Democrat and GOP bought stations? You don't get a whole lot of truth over there. Ugh. I remember listening to other talk radio shows in the morning before I got my own. And look, granted, I know mine's not that great. I'm not the most articulate guy in the world. But if nothing else, y'all know this show is way more entertaining than the other options. It is definitely more entertaining than the other options out there. Good Lord, I think of mornings I wasted listening to other talk radio shows. Political talk. That is not a shot at the sports talk guys. I know a lot of people give old Bo Bounds hell, but I'm gonna tell you what, Jake Wembley's one of my best friends, and I know it's faux pas to talk about other hosts at other radio stations on the morning talk on the talk shows, but there would be no Clay Edwards show if it hadn't been for what Bo Bounds heavily influenced me listening to him for 10 years, and then Jake Wembley, of course, one of my best friends, his afternoon show. Jake really kind of paved the way for showing how a podcaster can parlay himself into a daily talk show. Granted, our content is completely different. Our styles are completely different. I was still heavily influenced by them and them integrating text lines and all of that into their shows and guests and everything. So shout out to them this morning if you're listening to Sports Talk. I saw something yesterday that, I'm just going to go on and say this morning. I've stood by my word on this Budweiser debacle, this Anheuser-Busch debacle. I was like, man, I'm still going to support my folks over there at the local distributor. And I do. And that doesn't change. I mean, if you're down with me, I'm down with you. But Anheuser-Busch, however, the parent company of Bud and all that, and they sell other products there, not just that, I can't get down. I keep saying, man, if they would just apologize and move on from this thing. But I saw something last night that really ground my gears to a screeching halt. First off, this is on timcast.com. Some of you guys may listen to Tim Pool. His podcast every night is really good. It's a thinking man's podcast. It really makes you challenge your beliefs and kind of have to hear it from both sides. They called it Transheuser-Busch. Guys, I almost fell off my couch. Actually, I was on the treadmill when I heard it. I almost fell off the treadmill laughing so hard when I heard Transheuser-Busch. And I can't unhear that. I was like, well, why did that man say that? They're just not letting this go. Well, come to find out, and here's why I'm officially laying down the gauntlet. I'm telling y'all publicly, I will never drink another Anheuser-Busch product in my life. And look, if you know Clay Edwards, you know he likes to drink beer. I'm not talking about myself in third person intentionally. You know I like cold beer. I like cold free beer even better. You couldn't give me a case of Bud Light right now. I would not drink it. And as far as I'm concerned, never again. I guess never say never, but right now, never again will I drink another Anheuser-Busch product. And full disclosure here, I'd been efforting a beer sponsorship on the show for the last 6 months or so. Came really, really close to it happening. And as far as I know, it could have happened today. It could have unfolded today, and they could have called me and said, "Oh, today was the day." But you know, if I ain't nothing else, I'm real, and I'm really telling y'all the truth here. But here's the thing with this Transheuser-Busch. Did you know that the parent company, InBev, pays for their employees' sex change operations? So the money you spend on Bud Light and Michelob Ultra, and I got the whole list of products they sell here. And I know I'm a little late to the dance on this because, again, I just have a hard time turning my back so quickly on a product and a company that has been so good to me over the years. I've made so many memories with. It's an American institution. Well, was an American institution. And you know, I kind of look at it like this because I've been in the car business for so long. I just imagine like if Ford or Chevy or Toyota did something insanely stupid like this, and I was working at the local Ford, Chevy, or Toyota dealership, I wouldn't want y'all to not buy a car from me because that parent company did something completely ignorant. At least come buy a used car from me. And that's the analogy I'm making for still supporting the folks over at Southern Beverage. Find one of the small breweries that they do business with and they distribute over there and support them. And I still think there's a happy medium here. However, it ain't going to be with any Anheuser-Busch products. I mean, Transheuser-Busch products. I can't quit saying that. That is phenomenal. They pay. So when you buy a beer from them, your money is going to cut people's weebies off. And I'll be honest, I'm probably changing my thought process on this too. Because if all these people that, I think it's safe to say most of these people that are cutting their weebies off are probably Democrats. We're stopping the bloodline. I mean, they're legitimately committing genocide on themselves. The bloodline stops right there. Maybe we should rethink this thing. Maybe we should support it a little more. I don't know. Food for thought this morning. What do y'all think? 601-879-0002. If anybody wants this article, Michael Knowles was a big part of it. It all ties InBev, Budweiser's parent company, back to the World Economic Forum. And it basically just says if you're waiting on an apology from Budweiser, it ain't happening. All their World Economic Forum and ESG stuff, it ain't going to allow them. And they've really got themselves in a corner here because if they come out and they support this trans nonsense anymore, it's going to affect them even worse. But now the gay bars are boycotting Bud Light because they feel like they've turned their back on Dylan Mulvaney. And I got a little Dylan Mulvaney news here. I stumbled across this yesterday. You know, I've told y'all the story. When I'm at work, my home screen on the work computer there at Ellis Autoplex is on MSN, which is terrible. It just aggregates news, and it's always anti-white, anti-conservative stuff. It's very aggravating, to say the least. But I stumbled across this headline here, but it has made for great show content. This is from the Washington Examiner. Dylan Mulvaney worn down by the mental effects of being misgendered amid the Bud Light debacle. Oh, the poor little guy. Worn down. Bet his knees are dirty. Controversial transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney describing being worn down by the backlash stemming from the LGBT advocates' partnership with Bud Light. Haters really wore me down for a second, Mulvaney told Chelsea Handler on Thursday's episode of Handler's podcast, Dear Chelsea. I'm talking about another train wreck of a human being. He, quote, that's what I think a lot of these haters don't realize is the mental effects of misgendering in the media. It breaks my heart because, you know, there are people calling me a man, and I don't right now. I don't feel like I'm not even processing any of it. That doesn't make any sense. The constant battering could have seriously damaging effects, Mulvaney said. I'm so scared to do a deep dive and to know what the effects are. And I'll say these haters, they really wore me down for a second. According to Mulvaney, dysphoria truly feels like a darkness that kind of washes over you. And in those moments of being misgendered, that made me so sad. Bro, you misgendered yourself. You call yourself a woman while you still have a wee-wee. We're not misgendering you. You're misgendering yourself. You can't have, better yet, you can't be born with a wee-wee and ever be a woman. I don't care what you cut off, what kind of inverting surgery you have. I'm sitting across from a woman here right now. A woman. Born that way. I mean, Lady Gaga, one of the patron saints of all this nonsense, got a great song called Born This Way. That's and that's true. You are born this way, whatever you are. A man, a woman, that's it. There are truly people with gender dysphoria, people who have had just got a mess down there. They were born like that. I think that's just the best way to describe it. And my heart goes out to those people because it doesn't function properly. You know, just like you can be born with a cleft lip and stuff like that. You can be born with issues below the waist, and that's terrible. That is tragic. And people sometimes have to have that surgery to pick a life to live. And my heart goes out to them. It really does. But this is not the fight we're in. They're not our enemy in this. We're not their enemy. Our enemy are these nut jobs like Mulvaney and others. Let me make sure I got these guns and gear texts on, keeping these on topic this morning. Unknown texter. Heard something a long time ago. Let the man who wants to marry a man, let him marry a man. A woman who wants to marry a woman, let her marry a woman. And in 3 generations, there won't be liberals anymore. Hey, look, I know some gay conservatives. You know, again, I preach this as loud as I can. But y'all believe it or not, we have some gay conservatives that listen to the show, and they message me all the time. My problem ain't never been with your, I just call them OG gay folks that just want to be left alone, just like me. I just want to be left the hell alone. My only problem with the gay folks is this: you let the T's into the party, and you stood by them and defended them when you should have been stepping up against them and saying, hell no, this ain't right. But you're trying to be all inclusive and stuff. And now this is where you got us. Let's take a break real quick. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. When necessary. I mean, that's what for years, you Democrats around here, particularly, I'm just going to say it, particularly my black friends, you keep saying we got to have a tough conversation, Clay. We got to have a tough conversation. We have those tough conversations here every Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. I mean, sometimes they make me cringe. They're so tough. But you got to have them. Otherwise, we're never going to find any middle ground. We're never going to reach normies if we don't just lay the smacketh down every now and then. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show, live here in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios. This segment is going to be brought to you by Take a Break Deliveries. Man, I just heard that testimonial that Mr. Keith Hokut did there during the break, talking about how well their advertising worked here. And I almost teared up a minute hearing people speak so well. And he ain't lying. This advertising works. That's why when the cancel culture vultures come after us here, that most of these advertisers stay strong in the knees and don't bend. Because it works. It legitimately works. And that ain't because of Clay Edwards. That's because of you guys getting out there and supporting it. And, us selecting sponsors that we believe are a good fit for this audience. And I really appreciate that. To the point about Take a Break Deliveries, locally owned, veteran owned. That still means something to me. I don't know about y'all. That means something to me. I can pick up this phone right now and call Keith, the owner, and ask him any question I need about a food order. I called him yesterday, or sent him a text yesterday and let him know about a restaurant that is now serving lunch every day. Out there, hey, I'll just tell y'all. My buddy Chad Horton got Back Porch 471. They bought the Fernando's part of it on the front there. They're now doing plate lunches every day. Hell, I text Keith. I said, hey man, you may want to holler at Back Porch. Maybe deliver some lunches or something if you didn't already know. He's like, thank you for the heads up. Because I'm just sitting there thinking, even though it's just right across the street from me out there at Ellis, sometimes I can't get away. I got a customer, got customers, whatever the case may be. So being able to get that food delivered, especially when you got a $5 off promo code, Clay601, all caps, and you can save the dang delivery fee. Be sure to tip the driver. But anyhow, all of their restaurants are locally owned. And hey, maybe, I've told this story. Me and Sean have played this out a little bit. You're sitting around the house come football season or come summertime, you at a pool party. You've been drinking some beer all day. You run out of beer, but you want some more beer. But everybody's had too much to drink. Nobody needs to drive. Call Take a Break Deliveries. They'll deliver beer and liquor to you. You can't beat that, bro. I mean, I don't have to even explain why you don't need to be drinking and driving. If I got to explain to you why you don't need to be drinking and driving, you're listening to the wrong show. You're too slow. You're too slow for this show if I got to explain that. And that's saying something because I'm kind of slow myself. Anyway, check them out, man. Locally owned, locally operated, veteran owned. Take a Break Deliveries. Use the promo code, all caps, Clay601 to get a $5 off your delivery fee. They also, if you download their app from any of the app stores of choice, they send out a promo code every day with $3 to $5 off. So check that out and order some food from a good locally owned restaurant. They also have the national chains on there as well. But what they specialize in is getting you locally owned food restaurants to your door, lunch or dinner. Also, when you use Take a Break Deliveries, you're not only supporting Take a Break Deliveries, they're locally owned. There's a great chance you're supporting a locally owned if you use the Clay601 promo code, you're supporting 3 locally owned businesses in one fell swoop. And if you order from Acme Pizza and Daiquiris, you're supporting 3 locally owned businesses and 3 Clay Edwards Show advertisers. Well, I'm considering myself one. That's a lot of bang for the buck. And we much appreciate it. TakeABreakDeliveries.com. All right. Let's hit up some of y'all's texts here on the Guns and Gear text line. Y'all got them coming in this morning. Real quick, somebody wanted me to clear up, and unknown texter says, be sure your listeners know that Molson Coors also pays for gender reassignment surgery. Absolutely. And from day one, I came on here and I said, drink Yuengling. I thought Southern Beverage still distributed Yuengling, and they did. Yuengling was my go-to. Has been for a long time. I like their Flight, which is kind of the comparison to Mick Ultra. Tastes a little more like beer to me. I always liked Mick Ultra. That was my go-to. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I didn't like this beer for a long time. But I did like Yuengling. Yuengling also had come out and supported Trump or donated some money to Trump during his first campaign. So I'd never even heard of Yuengling till then. And I put them on my radar. And now they're coming out they are swinging at I've got a story right here. Yuengling is throwing blows at Bud. They done come out with a patriotic can. I got some numbers here too, by the way. But this story here is on Outkick. It says, my goodness, it was a massacre in favor of the folks over at Molson Coors and Yuengling, while Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch continue to take on water. Molson Coors this is April's beer numbers. Molson Coors was up 7%, while both Miller Lite and Coors Light were in the double digits. And how about Yuengling? America's oldest brewery showed everyone what staying power is all about, skyrocketing over 14% last month, while also sending a subtle shot at Bud on Twitter at Bud Light with their new red, white, and blue pro-military can. That's what that's Bud's thing. One of my favorite NASCAR memories of all time. First off, huge Dale Jr. fan. The Budweiser years were phenomenal. I didn't miss a race. Did not miss a race. Probably why I was single that whole time. There was no girl going to sit there and watch NASCAR with me all the time. But my greatest memory in NASCAR ever was the July 2001 Pepsi 400, or 2000, whatever year it was, when Senior died in the Daytona 500 when they came back for the July race and Junior won the damn thing. The first trip back to the track after his dad died there, I get choked up just thinking about it. He was in that Budweiser baseball car with the bat on the hood. If NASCAR was still half that good, it would be my favorite sport. So Budweiser is Americana. And I think that's one reason people are pissed off too, is a brand that we loved, a brand that represented us, blue-collar America, turned its back on us, said to hell with y'all. And they continue to say to hell with y'all by not coming out and disavowing Dylan Mulvaney. Let's take a call here. Hey, you're on there.
What's going on this morning, Clay?
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Man, great. Blessed. I was at that race.
Oh, man, that was awesome, man. I'm going to tell you, I cried like a little baby when he won that race.
I'm a 24 fan, but a friend of mine was diehard Junior. Man, he celebrated for 2 hours after seats was uncleared. He's still running up hooting and hollering up there. He was so excited. And it was his first race to go to.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I'd have loved it, man. I still pull that up every now and then and watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, they don't race no more. That's the reason I got tired of going. It's just like, man, because right after he got that race, it was like a parking lot out there when they come across that finish line.
Yeah.
They all bunched up there like, what? Talking about that Yuengling. I was introduced to it a few years back. A friend of mine goes to Florida all the time. He brought me some back. That's supposed to be one of America's oldest beer companies.
It is America's oldest beer company, and it's been owned by the same family the entire time.
I didn't realize that
I think it's 115 years old, I think.
Yeah. So I didn't realize they had so many. They had done bought out so many companies, and I didn't realize Coors had bought out so many different companies.
Yep. Well, yeah. They're all big conglomerates. And that is kind of funny. Everybody's running to holler about Coors and Miller.
Right.
They're no better.
Come on over, dude. They're trying to run me off the road up here.
But Coors and Miller are no better when it comes to this World Economic Forum, ESG stuff, all that. They just didn't send a tranny a can with them on it. You know,
right.
but
I mean,
but
they're trying to push it down our throat stuff.
We got to start using another analogy when we talk about this.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on. What about, did you see the Navy one?
The Navy one?
The Navy commercial?
Well, I've heard about it. I've intentionally avoided it. With the drag queen?
Yes, he's in the military apparently, but I was watching, I forgot who's on, Eric Bolin, one of those last night, and the dude took out Bin Laden was talking about it. They was talking about that stuff, man. They're going to have it. Ain't nobody's going to want to go into the services. You know,
Chris, I was talking about this the other day when that all came down. I said, and this is not an original thought. I heard somebody else say it, but I just don't remember who to credit it to. They said, Top Gun 2 was just the highest grossing movie in the history of movies. It was pro-military, pro-Americana, non-political. I mean, and legitimately, nobody should have gotten offended by it. It was nothing political about it. It was just the greatest recruiting tool for the Navy and the U.S. military since the first Top Gun. And they said, well, how can we recruit? Recruitment is down. How can we get out here and recruit? Let's put a drag queen in the recruitment video. That'll get these young guys because they all love drag queens.
My boy's on his way home now. He's aggravated with it. They jerk him around so much on all that stuff. They won't let him know what's going on and everything. He's going to try to come back, get on Flowwood or something.
Yeah, I tell you, in a bigger conversation, our country is screwed from a military standpoint with recruitment down. I know that a modern war will be fought with drones and chemical weapons and all that stuff, but you still got to have boots on ground for urban warfare.
Exactly, and he's sending all them troops down there just to process some jokers coming across that border. Man, that's what's I need to hush. I've been on sort of bad words.
Yeah,
that is ridiculous.
Yep.
What's happening at that border? I've been watching a show that Van Centric's been down there below Mexico. You can pull up and watch some of that stuff. What's going on down there with these people? It's sad.
Yep, I agree, brother.
All right, Clay.
Chris,
I'll let
thank
you get
man.
back at it, brother. All right, be blessed. Be safe.
All right, let's take a break real quick. Come right back. We're live on 103.9 FM WYAB. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Breaking rules when necessary. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We're live here in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios on 103.9 FM WYAB. Stimulating talk radio. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends down at Mercy House Auto Center. Man, if you're in the market for a $10,000 to $15,000 vehicle, car, truck, SUV, they got some more expensive stuff too. Not just 15, but that's their bread and butter. And I'm going to tell you, I say this all the time, and I think getting the point across is important with this. That $10,000 to $15,000 price range is an extremely difficult market to satisfy. Because what a lot of you guys don't realize is what was a $5,000 car pre-COVID is now a $10,000 to $15,000 car. I mean, I kid, between 5 and 10. Everything's gone up about $5,000 in that realm. So to be able to get a car like that and to be able to sell it as a dependable unit, you got to be able to do X amount of recon to it. Well, a lot of normal car dealerships can't survive in that world because they have to overpay for those cars. Then they have to pay to get all the work done, and they can't. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Well, Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center is a 501c3. That's a charitable organization. People donate their cars to them a lot of times, and that affords them the opportunity to be able to do the recon on it and sell it at a price point that's not overpriced, but they can still justify doing it. And I'm probably pulling the curtain back a little too much here, but I think it's important for y'all to understand that you're going to go down there, you're going to get a good vehicle for a good price at Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center in Crystal Springs. And, hey, maybe it's on your heart to donate to them. You can do that. Give them a call. If you got a car sitting on your land, on your property, your driveway, out behind the shop, running or not, as long as you got a clean title on it, they will come and they will pick it up and tow it off for you. And you can get a tax savings, a tax rebate for the amount that you sold that they sell it for. So that could end up being some pretty big bucks. For you folks that had to pay in every year, I mean, that's real. That's money in the bank, cash in hand, basically. So check them out, mercyhouseautocenter.com. And look, when you do business with these folks, whether you're donating or just buying a car, you're helping put fathers back in homes and help beat addictions with Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center. Great folks, man. Love Matthew Milliman and that whole team down there. MercyHouseAutoCenter.com, located right down there in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. I've sent a couple customers down there from Ellis. We just didn't have a car that fit their budget. I sent them down there. As a car guy, it pains me to not have a vehicle and had to send somebody to another lot. But I feel comfortable sending these folks down there. All right. Real quick, before we go any further, before we change subjects here, I got the Anheuser-Busch family of brands pulled up here. Now, I know most people know all this, but here we go. They got Budweiser, Bud Light, Kona Brewing, Mich Ultra, all the Michelob stuff, Stella Artois, Busch, Natural Light, Landshark, Presidente, Hoegaarden, Shock Top. I love Shock Top. I love those blonde type beers like Blue Moon and Shock Top. Some of my favorite beers. Some of their craft brew partners, 10 Barrel Brewing. These are all craft breweries that Anheuser bought. Anytime a craft brewer starts making a real dent, Anheuser buys them. Can't hate that. That's capitalism. Appalachian Mountain Brewery, Blue Point, Breckenridge Brewing, Cisco Brewers, Devil's Backbone, Elysian Brewing, Four Peaks Brewing, Golden Road Brewing, Goose Island. That Goose Island is a good beer. Carbach, Omission Balanced Brewing or Balanced Omission Brewing, Platform, Red Hook. Man, that Red Hook's a good beer too. I didn't know that. Square Mile Cider, Vesa Sur, and if I butcher some of these names, I'm sorry. Virtue Cider. That's for the virtue signal at the house. Wicked Weed. I bet that's an IPA. That just sounds like something you would name an IPA. Wicked Weed. Wynwood Brewery. Widemer Brothers Brewing. And they got some stuff Beyond Beer, Babe, Cutwater Spirits, Neutral, Highball Energy, and Rita's. I guess Rita's is the margarita mixes and stuff that they sell at liquor stores and all that, grocery stores. All right. So just food for thought there. Again, I say find you a good craft brewer. And most all of them amount now, if the low carb thing is your thing, most all these craft breweries make a zero carb, basically beer, a very extremely low carb beer. Try it, experiment a little bit, find something you like. Can't go wrong with the Yuengling beers at all. And as far as another beer that they have over there at Southern Beverage, my buddy Shane that works there turned me on to Key City Brewery, which is right over in Vicksburg, Mississippi. And they got one called Mississippi Queen that I would say is very comparable to like a Budweiser or a Bud Light. Really, really good beer. Last time we were over in Vicksburg, I think I drank 4 or 5 of them. So give that a try. All right. Something happened. We talked about this the other day. Sorry. I get PayPal notifications to my phone. And it said, you paid $11.77. Like, what did I pay $11.77 for? Anyway, so Pearl released their statement yesterday about the 2 stolen cars crashing into each other during the Pearl police chase that came into Jackson Friday morning. As first reported by me, Save Jackson Clay Edwards, and I will gladly, proudly wear that. Both of those cars were stolen. Nobody else was reporting that. Got to trust them sources. Pearl comes out and makes a press release. I'm expanding my screen here so I can read it. Scroll down just a little bit here. Fly by the seat of my pants on this show sometimes. I don't have everything pulled up when I should. That's interesting. Looks like Pearl has taken down their press release. Well, long story short, Pearl Pearl had a press release. But your boy screenshot it. So let me go pull it up and find who I sent it to. I think I sent a copy of it to Mr. Kim Wade. I did. I'm going to skip over most of the stuff and kind of jump to this. A Pearl police officer attempted a traffic stop. No, we've already read all that. You guys know what happened. Had to perform CPR on one of the victims. Here's where it gets interesting. It said when investigators entered the information on the Jeep Cherokee into the NCIC, it was stolen. All right, here's the juicy stuff. Both Jackson Police Department and the Hinds County Sheriff's Department were requested to work the accident investigation, but refused. The Pearl Police Department contacted the Mississippi Highway Patrol for assistance. MHP continues its investigation and will determine if any charges will be filed stemming from the accident. And Sheriff Tyree Jones was not happy about being rolled under the bus. And look, I am a fan of Tyree. I supported him during his election and everything, during his campaign, and I still support him. But I think he missed the mark on this. I'm going to try to read it all before the break. As it relates to a recent press release by Pearl Police Department regarding a chase that entered into Hinds County and the city of Jackson on last week, leaving several people seriously injured, and the Hinds County Sheriff's Office refusing to assist with the crash investigation, this is my statement regarding this matter. And somebody Sharon just told me that post is still up. I'm just not seeing it. It says, I think the energy regarding the Pearl police chase should be centered around the crash investigation and the conditions of those seriously injured instead of finger pointing. I am aware that the accusations that I am appalled at this time, I am not disputing. He's appalled, but he's not disputing them. I'm not disputing that we were contacted, but we have absolutely no record that we were contacted regarding working a crash that had already occurred, leaving several people very seriously injured, stemming from a police pursuit into Hinds County. If we were contacted and we refused, it's because we don't have an accident investigator. Why don't y'all have an accident investigator? And due to the circumstances of the accident, with the many serious injuries, an accident investigator would be needed. Furthermore, as an administrator, I wish there could have been communication and follow-up between the department heads prior to releasing this information publicly, which has obviously gained traction. The nature and root cause of this incident should not be overshadowed. Boy, Democrats, they love these damn root causes. Sheriff Tyree, respectfully, the root cause of this incident was two jackasses riding around, or two sets of jackasses riding around in two stolen cars, running from the police. It was not because of the pursuit. Once you decide to steal a car and run from the popo, you take life in your own hands. We all make decisions every day that affect our lives positively and negatively. That's why I have no sympathy for not a single person in either one of those cars. But the root cause was Democrats behaving badly. We'll be right back to close out the first hour of the Clay Edwards Show. Without an ad read here, I want to go back to what I was just talking about with Sheriff Tyree Jones's response. I appreciate him responding, but man, talk about a bunch of convoluted. I'm not saying that's not what happened, but we don't have a record of that what happened. Either they called you or they didn't. Just say, hey, man, we dropped the ball, bro. We don't have an accident investigator. We couldn't do it. Why don't y'all have an accident investigator? Is that protocol for a sheriff's department not to? I don't know. I'm mind-boggled that they wouldn't, but somebody knows, let me know. We're going to talk about this good bit here in the second hour, and I'm going to read all your texts, too, on the Guns and Gear text line. 769-241-1944. I'll be right back after this break on 103.9 WYAB. All right, welcome back in. It's hour 2 of the Clay Edwards Show, live here on 103.9 FM WYAB. This segment is going to be brought to you by my friends and yours down at Battlefield Drag Strip right there in Collinsville, Mississippi. Man, my guys have had a rough run with the weather, getting them every weekend. I think they even did a Thursday night race this past weekend to try to get it in before the rain. But this weekend, this Friday night, they got a big one. It looks like the weather's going to hold off for them. And it's a no prep jam. $250 buy-in, small tire, $10,000 to win. Bruh. $250 to win $10K? I want in on that. I don't care what the odds are. Let me sit down at a table. Some blackjack, some Uno, some dominoes. I'll take that anytime. But anyway, $250 to win $10,000 with a 32 car. At 32 cars, paid back 4 spots. Drivers meeting 8:30. I got it. So it pays top 4 spots. $20 gate fee. Kids under 12 get in free. Got BJ the flag man on Delight. Your driver's card, your tech card is $40. Testing starts at 7. It's going to be a big one, man. Get out there early. I'm talking about it's going to be packed, man. You got a BJ the flag man in the house, $250 to buy in to win your share of $10,000. That's going to be a big one. This Friday night, Battlefield Drag Strip, Collinsville, Mississippi, 90 minutes east of Jackson. Just got to get on I-20, head towards Meridian, boom, get off at the Chunky exit, and go up to Collinsville. I believe that's right. But don't take my word for it. Type it into Google Maps if you've never been. It's a nice facility, too. It's under new ownership. You will have a good time, mark my word. This Friday night, Battlefield Drag Strip. $250 buy-in, small tire, no prep jam, $10,000 to win. All right, welcome back in to the most incendiary morning talk show in the state of Mississippi. Most people would be ashamed of that title. I brag about it. I think over the last couple of years, this show has really evolved into a look into who I am as a person, for better or for worse. We talk about things on here that a lot of other shows aren't going to talk about. I think, and I got a bad habit of saying that about myself. It's really everybody at this station is their own person. We have a group text where we just share stuff with one another, but there's never any top-down mission statement that we all, narrative that has to be pushed here. It's just coincidentally we all freedom-loving patriots. And we tend to call balls and strikes. Call it like we see it. I'm not saying I ain't wrong. I'm just saying I don't think I'm wrong. I believe I'm 100% right about everything I say. And I think I speak for the other guys when I say that. I think they believe what they're saying. No BS. So that's me, Jameson Haygood, Kim Wade, Jim Thorne, Mike Madison, his couple days a week. He'll be on today. If you don't know, Mike Madison is still doing a show here every Tuesday and Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, every Wednesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Miss Allison Noe in the mornings on Monday morning, 9 to 10. So we got a great lineup of local artists here. We hate to lose Steven Yatroska, but duty calls. Sometimes them day jobs you have to make you got to make that bread. So I get it. But anyway, with all that said, let's get back to this press release from the sheriff. What do you guys think, man? I'm curious. Do you think the Hinds County is dropping the ball? Do you think JPD? I know JPD's dropping the ball. It just top down. Do these Democrat-led police agencies, law enforcement agencies, are they all just anti-pursuit at this point? How bad is it in Jackson that 2 stolen cars, and this happened a couple years ago too, somebody reminded me. This happened a couple years ago over there along the JSU Parkway. 2 stolen cars crashed into each other, sent all 8 people to the hospital. And come to find out from another source, one of the people in that Cherokee admitted to another carjacking. One of the 14 to 17-year-old kids admitted to another carjacking since he's been in the hospital. I said another carjacking, as in more than one. Because they carjacked the Cherokee. Everybody's all up there, oh, my babies. They're just babies. You know how the media do it. When you get some young minorities doing something wrong, they'll find the sweetest little picture of Mama's Angel they can find, like they did with Trayvon Martin, and they'll post it up there. My babies, he's an MVP. I mean, baby carjacking thug. My baby would never do this. He ain't got to steal. And that's the problem then. He's just doing it for craps and giggles, for entertainment. I love it when y'all tell me, like when all these thugs and idiots are riding their four-wheelers and dirt bikes up and down the streets around Jackson. Y'all tell me, there ain't nothing for the kids to do around here. Bro, there's the same whole lot of nothing to do around here now that it was in the 80s and 90s when we was growing up. There's still malls. You may have to go into the county to do it. Outside of Jackson. There's plenty of stuff to do but you don't have to break the law to burn time. I mean, what's a 14 to 17-year-old need to be out at 1 a.m. for? I mean, I was doing it when I was that age. I ain't saying it's right. I'm telling you from personal experience that a 14 to 17-year-old don't need to be out at 1 a.m. on a weekend or any other night for that matter. Hell, school's still in. We ain't even talked about this little nugget. This happened Thursday night, Friday morning at 1 a.m. Friday was a school day. Cinco de Mayo ain't a holiday. I mean, I know all you folks that work in banks and government jobs wish it was. Boy, y'all get off a lot. They were supposed to be at school the next day. I would like to see their truancy numbers this year. Their attendance numbers. If you're out at 1 a.m. riding around in a carjacked car, when you're clearly school age, I'd like to know how many days you've missed a school this year. Let's read some text here on the Guns and Gear text line. Eric says, 80% of the time you're always right. That's why I say about myself. Yeah, absolutely, brother. That's a private text there. Sorry. Tim says, watch the movie in the blink of an eye. It culminates with that win at Daytona. It's awesome. Oh, yeah, talking about the Dale Jr. win at Daytona. I'll have to check that out, man. Thank you, Tim. That was peak NASCAR. NASCAR has only gotten worse since then. To me, that was the peak of NASCAR, was Junior winning that Pepsi 400. Let me get open to Guns and Gear text. Unknown texture says, I was carjacked 20 years ago in Jackson. Guess what race car jacked me? Guess what race? Well, let me know. John says, what were the ages of the thugs in the accident? Well, I'm glad you asked, John. They were 14 to 17. The ones in the Cherokee were 14 to 17. The carjacked Cherokee. The two in the stolen Charger were 22 and 23, and they were brothers. And, of course, you know it. I forgot to mention this yesterday when I was talking about it. But you know it. They also had a stolen gun and dope in the car. Because, of course, they did. You know, the stolen gun thing. I keep hearing about what a crisis we have here with legal gun owners like myself. Conservative, legal, even our Democrat friends who own their guns outright, properly. I keep hearing that we're the problem. We are the problem. The problem is clearly Democrats with stolen guns. Every time one of these clowns get arrested, you hear about them having a stolen gun with them. Every single time they do it. And it's just all the time. So, anyway, every time they have a stolen gun. But we're the problem. Again, somebody make it make sense. And you people that are getting your guns stolen, maybe you're the problem. Lock your damn guns up. I mean, I got mine on me right now. You know where it's not? It ain't in my car. Lock your guns up. I mean, two things you're going to have a hard time stealing from me. My guns and my money. Why are all y'all getting your guns stolen all the time? Quit leaving your guns in your car. You're allowed to open carry. Concealed carry. That seems like an easy fix to me. Let's read a couple texts here real quick before we take a break. It says, how about blame the criminals for causing the problems rather than the police effing idiots? Amen. And that's exactly that was the first thing I said when I read that root cause comment from the sheriff. The root cause is you got two sets of clowns running around town in a stolen car. And one double set of clowns that were so stupid, even by dumb criminal standards. Guys, you know, Pearl is the F around and find out capital of the Tri-County area. Like if you want to go to jail, the easiest place in central Mississippi to do it is F around in Pearl. Now, I mean, I can't think of another place. I mean, no disrespect to Madison County, Madison City, and Madison Sheriff's Department. And I'm just not out there as much. But Pearl, you just know. If you ride through Pearl with no tag at 1 a.m, you're going to get pulled over. You check off a lot of boxes. And a bright red Charger too with no tag. I ain't saying they profile. I would never suggest that. But you're asking to be profiled. And then you got dope and a stolen gun on you. In Pearl again, let me rephrase that. Pearl, Mississippi. Anything bad that happened to you, you deserve. You are the dumbest set of criminals I've heard in a long time. You don't mess around in Pearl, Mississippi. Let's take a break real quick. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. Breaking rules when necessary. Man, I tell you what, one thing about me, I was just sitting here having a private message with somebody on Facebook, is I'm loyal. I'm going to ride with you. I'm going to ride with you. All right, and I appreciate y'all riding with me. Let's jump in. Well, actually, let's do this. Let me tell you about Ellis Autoplex. Speaking of loyal, shout out to Casey and the crew over there, Jason, Steven, Rachel, everybody this morning. I know they all listen to the show every morning. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to my buddy Jacob. I won't say his last name, but Jacob, local law enforcement cop, and just bought a truck from me yesterday. Nice F-250. Shout out to Jacob. Shout out to everybody that decided to break bread with me. It's very appreciated. And you can do the same. You want a good truck, not just because I'm there, but you're looking for a good pre-owned. No, we specialize in F-150s. We do have some other stuff, but we specialize in Ford trucks, F-150s and 250s. And I'm going to tell you, and I mean this as a compliment to Casey Ellis, he is extremely OCD and picky to the point of being a nuisance when it comes to getting these trucks ready and buying the right trucks that aren't going to have problems. And if you've bought a truck from me in the last year since I've been there, since August, July or August, you ain't been back because you had a problem. I mean, wear and tear items, it happens. Can't control that stuff. And but we try to buy these trucks, the right trucks. They go through an extreme inspection and recon and all of that. No penny is spared when it comes to reconning these trucks, getting them right before we sell them. So I say all that to say this. You know, if you're okay with buying a truck with 120, 130,000 miles, you want to save some money, not having to go spend $50,000, $60,000 on a used truck under 100,000 miles, come see me over at Ellis Autoplex. Check us out online, ellisautoplex.com. We call it Little Truck City, but we got a big selection. ellisautoplex.com, located at 2195 Highway 471 in Brandon. Shop us online, ellisautoplex.com. And don't forget, I say it all the time, we buy cars too. We buy trucks. If you're thinking about selling it, Even if you're thinking about trading it in somewhere else, bring it to us first. Let us give you a good number on it. And if the other dealership can't match that number, bring it back. Let us buy it from you, and you can just take the money and use it as a down payment. I mean, always good to have a good number in your pocket to go car shopping with on your trade. I mean, I don't mind doing that. We'll extend that service to you. We'll make it good for a couple of days as long as you don't go put too many miles on it. And I think you'll be back. Most people come back because we're fair. And we'd like to do business with folks. We like to do good business with folks. All right, that's Ellis Autoplex. Let's read some of you guys' text. A nuisance, Fred said. Unknown texter here says, I got Watkins Construction heading to the house right now for an estimate. Also called Stonington Farm last week to order a quarter of a cow. I never listen live. I just get the after show on Spotify. Well, brother, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And I did put an emergency podcast up Saturday that I found very entertaining. It is not available on Spotify because it was downloaded as a video format, and for whatever reason, MP4s don't push over to Spotify. So there is some content that doesn't make it to Spotify, but it's on all the other platforms as well as YouTube. Steven says, you're killing it this morning. Hunter. All right, so I just had that long rant about the stolen guns thing. And Hunter over at Guns and Gear on the Guns and Gear text line chimes in. Says they got stolen because truck guns and criminals just know about any truck with a Madison or Rankin County tag is going to have a gun in it, or they have gun stickers plastered all over their back glass, a.k.a. Steal Me stickers. You know, car stereo stuff is exactly like that too. Back in the day when we was little thugs, and I was a thug in another life. If I saw a car with a Pro Audio or a Wood stereo or a Linear Power or an Alpine sticker or Kicker speakers or Rockford Fosgate stickers or whatever, we was like, that's the one we're going to break in. Don't let them know. Don't put them Glock stickers on your back window. Don't be an idiot. Says, also a majority of the guns that get stolen don't get reported stolen because the owner doesn't keep record of the serial numbers. And I'm going to say this. All that smack I just talked about, you ain't going to steal my guns. I am guilty of not writing down them dang numbers. And when I get back to the house today, or wherever it is I have my guns hidden, I am going to write down my serial numbers because I can't lie to y'all. I cannot lie to y'all. So, some good advice from Hunter out there at Guns and Gear. Take those stickers off your trucks, letting people know that this vehicle is protected by Glock or whatever else. All those pro Patriot type stickers. I mean, like if I see a Let's Go Brandon sticker, I bet you got a gun in your truck. There's somebody riding around right now this morning thinking, dang, he's talking about me. I am. I'm talking about you. Steven on the Guns and Gear text line says, Flowwood don't play either. Ask me how I know. Flowwood does not play. And I like Flowwood and Pearl run neck and neck with the F around and find out capitals of Central Mississippi. And what I always find funny is a couple times last summer, if I remember correctly, multiple police pursuits would start in Pearl and end in Flowwood, or started in Flowwood and end in Pearl. And neither one of them ever ended well. One of them ended with a guy, was it a bandito, I believe? If I'm wrong, I apologize. Well, a local biker, one of the local biker organizations, guy got ran over there on Old Fannin and killed. A little white thug running around in an Infinity trying to outrun either Pearl or Flowwood or both or something like that. Yeah, you don't want to mess around over there. You don't want to mess around. I mean, these guys, they're waiting for it. I mean, they train for this. Like we go to the gym and work out. They practice in pit maneuvers. Flowwood's got one of the best motorcycle, and it's Madison too, best motorcycle cops out there as far as their skills and with some of the competitions that they've done. You don't want to get into that. You don't want to mess around. Let's see here. Yeah, thank you, Chad. Yeah, it was a bandito, I believe, that got killed. So, all right, here's to our. We were talking about the Navy using the transgender drag queen videos, and we got this text here from unknown texter. It says, "I'm a Navy vet, and I feel that everyone involved with that Navy commercial should be dishonorably discharged." I completely agree. And guys, I just remembered I've left some people on hold. Let's take a call. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, Clay, I'm talking about the guns. Get you a Polaroid camera and take pictures of the gun and write the serial numbers on the bottom.
Absolutely, yeah, no doubt.
That's what I've done. That way you got a description and everything, something to go by
Yeah,
to show them.
I do have pictures. I'm definitely that guy. But I do, and I've got all the stuff that come with it. I just got to go home and write my serial numbers down. But
right, because I did that way back. They told me, that better, take a. And if you can still find the cameras, I got an old one. Just take the picture and write it down at the bottom. That way, you can put that in your file somewhere.
Yeah, but again, hold on to keep your guns close, man. Like leaving them in trucks and stuff, man. It's just take your gun in every night. I ain't gonna get into what I do with my guns, but you ain't gonna find it in my car.
But you made me laugh. I remember back when we was doing them subs and all that, and I'd tell my friends, man, you go downtown or go around big spots, don't be booming. Cut it down.
Oh, and cut it off when you pull in your neighborhood, too.
Right, because they don't hear it and they going to come find it. Because I had a friend, he went down all that, with parking at a parking ride, would be sitting out there pumping. Come back one, I kept telling him, man, you don't need to be doing that. You're advertising.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, look, I learned that because I was on the other side of doing it.
Right.
All right, brother.
Clay, Judge Show. Be safe.
Peace. Let's take another call here. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, Clay.
Hey.
Hey, check this out. Y'all talking about them guys that ever around to find out in Pearl. Hey, they don't need no season on no way, but they not even no seasoned veterans to do that. They ain't got no uncles or they ain't got no daddies to tell them, man, do not go in Pearl.
No OG and they may not have even known they crossed over the bridge there to the Flying J.
Oh, they know better. My son,
you got to know better.
He got a brand new car. He ain't got his tag. He got to get his tag. He just got it last week. I told him the place don't go to. I said, man, don't go to Pearl without that tag. Even though you got the paperwork and say your tag applied for. I said, don't go over there. I said, don't go to Madison. Don't go over there. He's staying by him. I tell him where don't go. He got the blackout package, so he got to get a tent. We talked about what color tent he gonna get. I said, you go over there. Even though you got the stuff right, you still save yourself for to get pulled over. So you don't want to get pulled over. Don't do it. And another thing, man, I never did date a girl in Pearl, Madison. I'd have been to those places, but I never did date a girl in Madison, Pearl, or South Jackson. The woman I married, she stayed around the corner from me because I wanted to be driving out there trying to go date nobody in them areas right there, so I wouldn't even have to find out what they were doing over there. You know what I mean?
Hey, Rod, I was thinking about you coming in this morning. It's funny that you called on this matter because I was coming from Brandon out here to the station. I was crossing over the bridge into Jackson, and I was like, man, what happened to I was listening to Master P, Bourbons and Lacs, and it just got me to think about OGs and stuff. I was like, man, the OGs, these younger kids ain't listening to them anymore because that would have never happened back in the 90s. Some 22, 23-year-old messing around in a stolen car in Pearl, not from Jackson. No. That would have never happened because some OG would have been in their ear saying, hey, young buck, that ain't how you roll.
That ain't how you roll. No tag, you know it's stolen.
Yeah.
You know it's stolen. What sense that makes? You really supposed to be, if you gonna steal it, Clay, steal it and do what you're gonna do with it and get rid of it. All that joyriding in it, man, you set yourself up for failure.
I mean, nothing good comes from it.
Nothing good comes from it. You're gonna be a thief now. You gotta be a good thief.
I mean, look,
get rid of it, take what you're gonna take off of it, and let somebody else find it naked.
Rod,
you know what I mean?
Rod, I said it yesterday, man. I said there's some sensible, halfway intelligent thieves sitting back reading this story, thinking idiots.
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 Idiots. That's what I said when I seen it. I said, well, what they thinking? I said, they got to be crazy all out there to be over there in Pearl at 1 o'clock in the morning with no tag and a stolen car like they weren't gonna get pulled over. And that ain't profiling. They're just doing your job.
Yeah.
Checking somebody with a tag, no tag at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Especially at a truck stop. That truck stop's like a honey hole for criminals. So of course the police gonna be over there.
I don't know. But anyway, man, you enjoy your day. We'll get back with some more convo.
Rod, appreciate it, brother.
All right.
Let's take a break real quick. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back on 103.9 WYAB. Breaking rules unnecessary. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show, live here on 103.9 FM WYAB in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios. This segment will be brought to our friends at Watchman Security Services, located right there in Pearl, Mississippi, but they serve you statewide here in Mississippi. They've been an Alarm.com service provider for over 15 years. And look, man, one of their specialties is one of the things I just like to drive home is how important it is, A, to have a security system. Now, don't matter where you live, you're in the heart of Jackson or in the heart of the county somewhere. You know, criminals, if you got nice stuff, criminals want it. And they have security systems available. They have camera systems. They have the smart thermostats and all that stuff. They can, make your home a smart home and everything. It's one of the cool things, especially if you're out in the county or, you got a little land, you got a long driveway, they can get you one of those gates at the end, one of those automated gates that you can open and close from the house with a remote, have the camera there to see who's there. I think, man, that's really, really important. I'd like to have that in my neighborhood. On the end of my street. Keep people out. I live on a cul-de-sac, so just keep people off of it. Actually, it's not a problem, but it would be nice. I like privacy. The older I get, the more I like my privacy and I respect others. But look, we talk about it a lot here. Look no further than that lawyer in Jackson who caught those 2 aggravated assault charges for those vagrant crackheads being in his house. And they go to attack him. He has to shoot one of them, and now he's the bad guy. If he had some cameras in there, his side, he could show you his side of the story. He wouldn't have to tell you and trust a jury with his freedom. So reach out to Watchman Security Services. Let them come in. They'll give you an estimate, get you a nice system together. And maybe it's just something as simple as an alarm system. They'll get you taken care of. WatchmanSecure.com. That's Watchman, M-A-N. WatchmanSecure.com. Good folks. Good folks. All right. Live. What was something else I wanted to talk about? What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. We were talking about all the stupid people running from the police. Great call from Chris and from Rod there. Let's hit up the Guns and Gear text line. Taylor says, seems to me that kids have been running wild since this incident was caught on video, which was shortly after the George Floyd. Root cause is kids run wild because cops are neutered because they are afraid of getting caught on video, and every kid has a phone to video. So I couldn't find the whole video. Here's WLBT's story. He talked to the kids like he knew him. Then, it says, there was a conversation, the entire incident. I told you to go home, disciplined by cop. Yeah, this is when that JPD got fired for snatching that kid up by the throat. Kid maybe 14, 15. Man, sometimes you got to get snatched up. At the end of the day. I told the story half dozen times on this show. Brian McCurley, God rest his soul, Hinds County deputy, back when I was growing up out there in the Byram area, snatched me up one night, broke my herringbone, put his foot on the back of my neck, put a gun on me, the whole 9 yards, over a misunderstanding. But I decided to make that a learning lesson. And it was at that point that I learned to keep my mouth shut when the police was talking. So I ended up becoming friends with Brian later on in my life. And he actually owned a security company for a while. And we used him to put the alarm system out there at Crazy 8. And then he actually went back into being a deputy. But, you try to make things learning lessons. Now everybody's so scared of being disrespected. You ain't gonna disrespect me. Man, I tell you, I don't like being disrespected either. But I'd rather go home. I'd rather go home. Sorry, I kind of got off on a rant there, but still. Let's see here. Thank you for all that stuff there, Taylor. Great text. Oh, let's see. Back to the Guns and Gear text line here. Rick says, don't throw your capital police boys under the bus. You F around there, you definitely going to find out on the spot. Absolutely. As much respect and as much credence as I give them, I do tend to forget about it a little bit. But, still, even that said, you don't go to Pearl doing the dumb things those guys were doing. Rick also says, I'm sure that lawyer called 911 to tell them what happened. Now he has charges. At what point do we stop calling? Yeah, it doesn't seem to work out for the good guys, does it? So the unknown texter says, what a time to be alive, like the collapse of the Roman Empire, but with Wi-Fi. Amen. It's funny you say that. I was thinking the same thing the other day. I feel like we're in the modern day version of the collapse of the Roman Empire. With all this transgender stuff, what's left is right, what's right is left, what's wrong is right, what's right is wrong. People can be trans anything they want to be. Except black. You can't be trans black. That'll get you. That'll get you every time. Let's see here. Roger says, old TK from JPD snatched me up back in 96, 97, and I survived. I took her for granted, thinking she was just a woman. Wrong thoughts that day. Man, I remember TK. I wonder whatever happened to TK. Great text, Roger. Woodrow says, forgot I had my judge in my car one night and had to keep it on me. I was listening about 20 degrees due to the weight. I know what you're saying. Limping about 20 degrees due to the weight. Yeah, my judge ain't nothing to play with. Wade says, I enjoyed your F Around and Found Out show. Thank you, Wade. Those are always my favorite. And let me speak on that for a second. People ask me all the time, Clay, why do you have to cuss in those videos and stuff? Because sometimes you got to get your point across to hard-headed people. And, I ain't the most articulate. I don't have the deepest vocabulary. But I think proper usage of the F word every now and then gets your point across. I'm talking to these kids out there. And sometimes you got to be stern with them. You got to speak their language. One thing I promise you, all these little bad kids running around the Tri-County area, particularly in Jackson, they don't want to end up on the Save Jackson page as an F Around and Found Out grand champion. It is not a badge of honor. It is not a badge of honor. I mean, if they don't know nothing else, they know that they don't want to end up on Save Jackson. I had some more sliding in my inbox the other day cussing me out. It's comical at this point. Sean says the cussing is the best part of the podcast. Thank you. TK is a bartender at Tom's Barbecue now. I'm going to stop in sometime. No, I'm kidding. I ain't going nowhere in Jackson like that. But shout out to TK. Shout out to Tom's Barbecue. One of my customers I sold a truck to says, good morning, brother. The Denali is working out great for me. I don't drive it through Jackson, though. It'll keep working out great for you as long as you don't drive it through Jackson, too. Appreciate your business, man. Appreciate you listening to the show this morning. Let's see here. All right, man. Well, here's one last text from about the beer conversation from earlier. We spent the whole first hour talking about beer. It says Yuengling only came to Mississippi after the high gravity law, and I'm glad they did. That's right. That high gravity law. Oh, one more text here. Shinerbach, hands down. Brewed in Texas. Shinerbach is a great beer. I missed some of these texts. I apologize. Dustin says, also help us a little by spreading HIV. Dustin, I'm going to skip yours, bro, because it's just kind of so far back. I don't remember where we were at. Let's take a call real quick. Hey, good morning. You're on there.
Hey, Clay. I was just going to say, my grandmother used to tell me years ago about, language and everything, and, you want to get across to the kids. She always said, elevate people to your level. Don't de-elevate yourself to their level. So bring them up, show them that you can do it without the cussing and, that you can get your point across. But anyway, that's what Grandma used to say. Bring them up to your standards. Don't go down to their standards.
Well, Grandma ain't wrong. Grandma's not wrong. I'm just hard-headed.
She ain't never wrong. Grandma ain't never been wrong.
If my grandmother was ever wrong, I ain't going to be the one to tell her.
It's with that tree, huh?
Yeah. Clay ain't telling his grandma she was wrong. Somebody else can.
I'm not going to tell. I wouldn't never tell mine she was wrong. Lord have mercy, I wouldn't have made it this far.
That'd been probably the last thing I got to do.
All right. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, brother.
You're doing great, man.
Have a blessed one.
All right. Later.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll tell my mama every now and then she's wrong. But I got a one living grandparent left. My grandmother, my mom's mom. We call her Pretty Mama. Went over there the other day to see her. I ain't telling that lady she's wrong, mainly because I don't think she's ever been wrong. You know, that old wisdom. We were talking to her about something completely off track here, just kind of land the plane. My grandmother's almost 90 years old, and she's still out there in her garden every day. She still moves around about as well as to be expected for a 90-year-old, but better than most. I say 90. She's going to get mad at me. I think she's 86, 87. I'm rounding up a little bit here. And I just asked her, I said, Pretty Mama, and she's not overweight by no stretch of the imagination. She's a skinny lady, always has been. I just asked her, how do you think you made it through life pretty much without any real medical issues, no cancer, none of that stuff? And before she answered, I said, I have a theory that it's because you put lard and fat in everything you cook. I said, and also you grow so much of your food. And she brought that point up. She has. They grew their food there in Florence, Mississippi, on that land their entire lives. So my grandfather died. My grandmother still keeps a smaller garden. But she don't get a whole lot of stuff from the grocery store. She gets a little meat, and she was talking about it the other day. She said, man, this meat is just tough from the store nowadays. And it used to not be like that. And I'm convinced it's due to all these preservatives and hormones and antibiotics and all the stuff they put in these meats nowadays, which, quick plug here, stoningtonfarm.com. If you want your beef without all that nonsense in it. Let's take a break real quick. Come back, land the plane for the day. Mike Watkins, I see your text. I'm going to read it when we come back. Sorry. Real quick, I'm going to read a couple texts, and I got to tell you all about Carter Jewelers. Tony Young says, man, I coach high-level softball with high school girls. I have to explain to the parents before they join my team, I will not curse your daughters directly, but I will curse in conversation around your daughters. This isn't Sunday school. Amen, brother. Amen. And Mike said, even Jesus met people where they're at, not where they should be. Great text on the Guns and Gear text lines today, man. Sorry if I didn't read yours. Real quick, hey, man, Mother's Day is right around the corner, and Carter Jewelers just bought their largest diamond purchase they've ever made in their 173-year history. Jerry Lake, the owner of Carter Jewelers, personally selected every piece of that diamond jewelry from the world's biggest diamond jewelry manufacturer at extreme closeout prices. Now Carter Jewelers is having an incredible clearance sale, offering sale prices on his jewelry that are untouchable. Prices are marked down up to 70% off, and they're also doing their balloon pop promotion. So once you've selected your jewelry, you pop a balloon and you can get an additional 30% off, and every purchase comes with a free complimentary dinner for two at Howlin' Miles under new ownership, Chef Damien. Check them out at their High Street location and their Vicksburg location at Pemberton Plaza. The sale ends Mother's Day Eve. Coming up next, it's Grow Your Know with Kelly's Green.
Thanks for listening. Tune in tomorrow at 7 a.m. as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.